But Jesus makes this invitation to his disciples in Mark 6. He says, come with me by yourselves to a what? Quiet place. Get some rest. That's how we start the day. The second thing is settle your soul. Now, this is the hardest. I want you to listen to what Jesus says in Matthew 6. He's teaching his disciples how to pray. He says this, here's what I want you to do. Find a quiet, secluded place so you won't be tempted to role play before God. So this isn't like, let me do a little fancy prayer. Just listen to this. This is important. Next part of the verse. This is so interesting. He says, just be there as simply and honestly as you can imagine. Don't be a poser. And as you're quiet and still, watch this. The focus shifts from you to God, and you will begin to sense what? His grace. Now, I know this sounds simple, but it's not. Because if you saw me in the morning in my house, I got a chair in my house, okay, that I bring my Bible, I got a cup of coffee, and before I start my day, I pull away, no noise, I don't have headphones on, no screens. But if you saw me in that moment, I know what you'd think. You'd see me and I have my Bible open, my eyes are closed, and you'd be like, how spiritual. You know, that's good. Pastor Tim starts his day with a quiet time. He's a holy man. That's what he does. The truth is, if you knew what was going on in my head, you'd quit this church right now. I'm just telling you, man. I'm serious. Like if you had like a camera in my house, first off, that'd be weird. But if you had a camera in my house and knew what was going on in my mind in that moment, you were like, this guy is not qualified to teach us anything. Because I have all this internal noise and mental chatter happening that won't shut up. Like I close my eyes and I'm like so distracted. I'm like, well, Lord, I pray, for the Yankees, and just like, I wonder what the score was of last night's game. Oh, Chase has a game today, volleyball at 4:00. Carl said, don't be late. Oh, yeah, late rhymes with date. What's today's date? 1/11/2020. Oh, that's cool. What? That's where I'm at. And does anyone relate to this? Just me? Okay, guys, you know why? You're normal. It's because you're a human being. Settling your soul's a battle. When I close my eyes to pray, my thoughts are like wild monkeys swinging from tree to tree, just grabbing bananas. Again, anyone relate? So that's just normalize it. You start praying, but your mind, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, and I pray for, I pray for my friend Jim, We had that awkward conversation yesterday. Lord, fix Jim, or whatever it is. Or suddenly you're praying. You ever praying and all of a sudden you have these random like a lustful thought, and you're like, what am I, a pervert? I'm like in God's presence. Or you start dreaming of revenge, forgive us our trespasses and we forgive those who sin against us. You know who sinned against me? Hilda. Hold her accountable, Jesus. Guys, watch, you're not wicked. It's your soul trying to settle down. And all the anger and the anxiety comes to the surface first. Because you've had nonstop stimulation. And the soul needs time to settle. The clutter needs time to clear. Let me show you something to illustrate this. Take this jar of river water. I just scooped this up behind my house. You're welcome. Say this is your soul, okay? I got this river water from the stream behind my house. Now notice it's pretty clear right now, right? But notice that's because you can't see the sediment at the bottom, all right? It's totally settled. But now watch this, okay? I'm going to stir it up here. What do you see now? Right? Not so clear. That's your soul when you wake up. It is a hurricane of emotion and stresses and clarity. And when you wake up, everything's swirling and foggy and it's unclear. Now, I want you to watch something. I'm going to set this down here and just give it a few minutes while we talk. Let me tell you what the eremos does. That 15 minutes of quiet, it gives your soul time to settle. And eventually, if you lean in, there will come clarity. Because all of the anger and sin and selfishness will come to the surface. But if you stay in that quiet place with Jesus long enough, watch this. He will settle them down. He will wash them clean. He will speak clearly to you. Because just as the law of gravity says that settlement will eventually settle and the water is going to get clear, you know this. There's a spiritual law of gravity at work. That the swirling chaos of your mind and your soul will clear if you sit still long enough and lean into Jesus and hear his voice in the quiet.